You ever wonder how much love can change in just a decade? I mean, think about it. That intense whirlwind romance you felt as a teenager versus, well, whatever love looks like for you now. Today, we are going on that exact journey, putting love at 17 right up against love at 27.
So what is the real difference? Seriously, take a second. What did love feel like to you back then compared to now? Well, the source material we're digging into today actually asked over 200 people that very question. And honestly, the answers are pretty eye-opening.
Okay, let's just cut right to the chase. The single biggest, most important difference, according to our source, is learning how to hold your own sense of security in your own two hands. It's this massive shift from expecting someone else to make you feel safe to building that safety for yourself.
So, to really get how this all works, we're going to walk through these 5 stages. We'll start with the core story, then look at the foundations of love, the daily realities, the tough lessons we learn from getting hurt, and finally, wrap it all up with the journey of actually learning how to love.
All right, let's jump into our first big section, the foundation of love. This is all about those huge changes in our thinking and what we truly value that happen over 10 years.
At 17, you're all about the sweet nothings, right? The poetic texts, the grand declarations. But fast forward to 27, and you've learned that actions really do speak louder. You're just not interested in someone who's all talk. You need someone who shows you they care through what they do.
And this right here gets to the heart of our main idea. When you're 17, it's so easy to hand over your entire sense of security to your partner. Their approval is everything. But at 27, you get it. That security has to come from you. A partner's love then becomes, as the source so beautifully puts it, like adding flowers to embroidery. It's a gorgeous addition to something that's already whole and beautiful on its own.
This leads perfectly into the next step of that growth. At 17, let's be honest, you might do some kind of reckless things for love, completely forgetting about your own well-being. By 27, you understand a fundamental truth. You have to love yourself first. Only then do you really have the strength and capacity to love someone else in a healthy way.
All right, let's move on and see how this all plays out in the real world. We're now looking at the practical, everyday stuff in a relationship and how our approach to it totally changes.
Oh man, you remember this? At 17, you're secretly hoping your partner is a mind reader, that they'll just magically know what's wrong. By 27, you realize that's a fantasy. Communication is a skill you have to use. You know that if you don't actually say it, you can't expect them to get it. Simple as that.
And how we handle fights, that matures big time. The 17-year-old you needs to win the argument, needs to be proven right, and definitely needs to be comforted after. But the 27-year-old you know it's not about winning. It's about actually solving the problem so you're not stuck having the same fight a month from now.
Wow, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? At 17, love feels like it's 80% of your universe. It takes up almost all the space. But by 27, your world has gotten bigger. Love is still hugely important, but look, it's now sharing the stage pretty equally with your job, your friends, and your family. It's about balance.
And that is such a critical point. At 27, you learn that even in the most amazing love story, you need boundaries. You have to keep showing up for your friends, your family, your career. You just can't let one person become your entire world.
Okay, now we're going to get into a tougher but absolutely essential part of this journey, the lessons we learn from getting hurt. This is all about spotting those red flags and finding the strength to know when to leave.
The source paints a picture that is painful but probably pretty familiar to some of us. At 17, after being hurt by a tron am, which is a Vietnamese term for a toxic bad boy, you might actually find yourself begging him to stay, even telling yourself that your love is special enough, powerful enough to change him.
And listen, the source material does not mince words here. It asks, what is a tron am? And the definition it gives is, well, it's blunt. I'm quoting directly. He is a piece of shit. No matter how you change, he is still a piece of shit. That brutal honesty is the lesson itself. You can't change someone who's fundamentally toxic.
And so by 27, the game plan is completely different. You realize the only way to protect yourself from more pain is to get out, and get out quickly. The answer isn't to try and fix them, it's to save yourself.
This difference becomes absolutely critical when it comes to abuse. A 17-year-old might think, I need to talk to him, we need to work this out. But a 27-year-old knows, with crystal clarity, that this is a hard line. This is a deal breaker. This is the moment you leave. End of story.
So, after all of that, the good, the bad, the really tough lessons, Where does it all lead? This last section is all about pulling it together, summing up this incredible journey of growth and looking ahead.
You know, when you're 17, the goal is forever. Every relationship has to have that fairy tale ending. But by 27, your whole perspective has changed. You get that you can't actually control the outcome. The only thing you can control is your own effort. And as long as you gave it your all, that's enough.
And I just love this way of looking at it. Love at 17 is an experience. Love at 27 is also an experience. It's not a test you pass or fail. Both of them, in their own ways, are just experiences that make our lives richer and more interesting.
This whole journey teaches us one last, really deep lesson. We tend to think that chasing after someone and finally getting them
Is the finish line. You know, the happily ever after. But that's not the end. Not even close.
It's actually the starting line. The real work, the beautiful work of building a life and growing together, that all begins after you're already a couple. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. It doesn't matter if you're 17 or 27 or 47. The real question is this: are you ready to learn how to love?